Hello guys, and a big welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we want to talk about one of the pathways to upskill or upgrade in this country, in the UK, in the diaspora. If you came on a care visa, if you're a carer, whether domiciliary, support work, live in, whatever, or even in the hospital. Today I'm going to talk about one of the pathways in which one can upskill and make a life for them without having to switch roles or without having to change from being a carer into something else, but just going up the ladder in care work. So today we are going to talk about how one can become a registered manager in care, whether domiciliary or a care home or whatever care setting, but becoming a registered manager as a pathway. Guys, this is a very, very lucrative job. This is a very, very rewarding job. So I'm going to talk about the requirements for one to become a registered manager, and also I'm going to have a look into one of the jobs, what one does if they are to become a registered manager, their job description. And again, guys, we are even going to talk about the pay package. Guys, if you're new to this channel, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell, because here we do talk about life in the diaspora, life abroad, especially for newbies. So guys, what is it that one has to do to become a registered manager in this country? Obviously, for you have to be registered with the CQC, which is the Care Quality Commission, which is a regulatory body in the United Kingdom. So the eligibility criteria is that one should be 18 and should have relevant health and social care qualifications, which is the bare minimum is an NVQ level 5 or a diploma in health and social care. Guys, just level 5, you can imagine. So you also need to have maybe experience of maybe 2 to 3 years in a management role. So this is depending on the organization that you work, but in some organizations, people are even given an opportunity to say, okay, you can understudy the manager who is there. You can become a supervisor. You can become a care coordinator. That's a supervisory role. And if you've been in that role for 2 years, then you can approach the relevant authority and then become registered. So guys, what sort of training and development does one need for them to become a registered manager? One has to complete a registered manager training program, which is skills for care registered manager qualification. Again, we're talking of level 5 health and social care work. So you have to attend the CQC Registered Manager Workshop. This is run by the CQC itself. So after attaining your level 5, after attaining your experience, then you approach or you register for this workshop. So what other skills or other development skills does one need? You need leadership and management. You need quality assurance, quality of care. Obviously, you need safeguarding experience or skills. You need risk management skills. What is it that we are talking about when we talk about leadership and management? By virtue of you becoming manager, definitely you have got personnel underneath you. How do you manage the human resources or your team underneath you? How do you manage your subordinates, your team? Quality assurance, definitely we cannot talk about care and not talk about the standard, the quality of care that we offer. So definitely there has to be a certain level of quality. So that's a measure of how much what degree of quality is your care. When we talk about safeguarding, definitely because we're looking after or we're caring for people that are vulnerable, definitely safeguarding is big, be it safeguarding against finances, abuse, any form of or even harm, or even just making sure they're safe, just making sure they're being taken care of. So it's one of the skills that you need to master or develop as a registered manager. Risk management, definitely to manage risks associated with the people that you're looking after, risks associated with the team and the business itself. So definitely those are some of the skills that you have to have as a registered manager. So how does one then register with the CQ? You have to create a CQC online account. This is when you go on their website and then you create an account with them. Then you apply, you submit an application with them. There is a registration fee that one has to pay, which varies from £160 to £370, depending on maybe timing and some other things that you need to do with them. You also need to provide the required documents, which is identification, evidence of qualification. You need also to have a clean DBS, which is your background checks and stuff. You need to have references. I always say, make sure you do have 3 references, 3 professional references, definitely. Obviously, one of the things that you have to submit again with the CQC is your right of work. If you're an immigrant like myself, if you're on a skilled worker visa like myself, you have to prove right of work in this country. So definitely, when you have done that, you've created your online account, you've registered with them, you've submitted your application, you've submitted all the documents required, there has to be an assessment and an interview. So what happens then? The CQC will assess your qualifications. Definitely your NVQ, whatever that you have submitted, they have a look at them, and if they're happy with them, they will invite you to an interview. You need to attend an interview with the CQC representative. This is whereby they're actually interviewing you, they're actually having a chat with you to ascertain a level of qualification, to ascertain whether or not then you are at the level that they require for them to certify you or for them to pass you as a registered manager. So what is it that you need to demonstrate in that interview? You have to demonstrate your knowledge, your skills and values aligned with the CQC fundamental standards. So guys, it's not about just getting your NVQ done. There has to be other things then that you attain through, maybe through mentorship, through experience, and through further study again, to understand the values of the CQC, to understand the knowledge and the skills that are required if you are to become a registered manager in this country, because it's a huge responsibility. It's a huge portfolio that you'll be having. There's so much responsibility in there. And guys, stay tuned in here, because we're going to look at one of the applications or one of the maybe job descriptions of a registered manager, and then you have a deeper understanding of what's required of you. No wonder why you have to be interviewed by the CQC. This is not to say you've got a job. This is to say you can now practice as a registered manager in whatever care setting. So this is very important. Guys, there is other requirements as well, apart from all the interviews and things, such as continuing professional development. In this job, you have to continuously upgrade, because there's loads of things, lots of changes, from legislation to policies to standards to, you know, because it's a multidisciplinary industry where you're having to work with, from the clinical side of things to the social side of things, to the finance side of things, to human resource side of things. So there is need for continuous personal development. There is also a requirement for annual self-assessment. Every year as a registered manager, you are required to assess yourself, assess your skills, assess your development, assess your overall portfolio as a registered manager. There's also the need to adhere to the CQC fundamental standards. I'm sure I'll make another video on this. I'll make a separate video on this. So there's also need for one to maintain registration, which is renewable every 3 to 5 years, depending on experience and depending again on qualification or further study. So definitely this is a renew. You have to renew your registration with the CQC board. What are the recommendations? What are the things that I can say I would recommend? I would recommend that someone has to familiarize themselves with the CQC regulations and guidance. Definitely, this is a must. This is a to-do thing. You need to build a community, network with other registered managers. There's a lot that you can learn from them, guys. I've always said it time and again to say I've got massive respect for people that have been in the industry for the longest, and I do learn a lot each and every time I do interact with these people. So I've noticed in this country a lot of people in these professions, they do hold like workshops. So if you are aspiring to be a registered manager, or if you're working on your qualification to become a registered manager, it's worth it for you to make it a point that you attend such gatherings. There's a lot that you learn. Some of these gatherings are done online. Some of these discussions are done online, like through Zoom and Teams. Make sure you do attend. You learn a lot from there. You develop a lot personally and professionally. You also have to join professional organizations, that is Skills for Care, National Care Association, amongst other organizations that deal with development, registration and things like that. You also need to stay updated on industry developments and best practices. Again, I've said, like, this industry, you work with different other disciplines, different other professions, like you're working with medical teams, you're working with safeguarding your work. There's a lot that you need to, and you need to keep yourself abreast with best practices, and also to be stay updated, because these policies and standards, they do change every now and then. They're updated. Legislation changes all the time, so you need to be knowledgeable. You need to know these things. You need to keep yourself up to date with these things. Some of the things, I'll just give you a rundown of some of the responsibilities and roles of a registered manager. This is to ensure that the organization is compliant with CQ regulations. Obviously, you find out some organizations, maybe the board of directors or the owners of the organization are not well versed with the CQC standard and stuff. So they do actually employ a registered manager who then has to ensure compliance. So it will be your responsibility as a registered manager to ensure that the organization is compliant with the CQC regulations. Part and parcel of what you do is obviously to lead and manage staff. You've got a whole team beneath you. So it's your responsibility to lead them, to guide them, to manage them, to ensure, supervise and ensure smooth running of the organization's day-to-day operations. Also, part and parcel of what you do is to maintain quality and safety standards, safety of the employees and safety of the people that you're serving as well. Also, managing risks and accidents. We cannot overemphasize the need for safety of the staff and safety of the people that we serve as well. So we cannot overemphasize the importance of safety in this business, in this job. So as a registered manager, it will be your responsibility to ensure that safety is at the core of whatever that the organization, whatever operations the organization is doing. Also, to foster a culture of continuous improvement. I mean, if you one day become a registered manager, definitely part and parcel, if you are going to have an A team, is to make sure everybody is development focused. Definitely is you've got a team that wants to improve their way of work, improve the quality of their work, improve themselves. Personal development is key, because when you add value to what you know, when you add value to yourself, definitely it just translates to the work that you do, and it translates to the work that the organization overall is doing. So as a registered manager, you want to have that team that's development oriented, definitely. Guys, so what other things can one do? If you want more information, I'll put the links in the description box, definitely, to this video, so that you know where to go, you know which institutions to approach. I'll definitely pin them in, guys. Guys, if you're joining here, we are talking about how to become a registered manager. You've been a carer, you came to the country as a carer, you moved from abroad as a carer, then what is it that you can do? We spoke about upgrading from level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, but the bare minimum for one to become a registered manager is to do the NVQ level 5. That's the bare minimum. If you end up then having to do extra level 6, 7, that's a plus, definitely, and we cannot stop people from doing that. So guys, I'm going to have a look at some of the roles I'm going to look at the job application and the criteria that they were looking for when they are looking for a registered manager. These are some of the things that they look for. They say the role with an exciting opportunity for a registered manager, our experienced care manager, to make an immediate impact with our brand. I'm just going to touch on the duties of a registered manager. This is to oversee the day-to-day operations of the domiciliary care service or care company, ensuring the delivery of person-centered care that meets the individual needs of the service. So at the end of the day, whatever that's happening in the business, you are entirely responsible. In as much as we do say everybody should be accountable and take ownership, but then it's your role as the registered manager to guide everybody, to steer the organization into the direction that is agreed at the top. So you have got an overall responsibility. So part and parcel of what you could be asked to do, depending on the organization that you work for, is for recruitment, training, and managing a team of care workers, providing leadership, support, and guidance to ensure they deliver the care to their standards. So for you to become a registered manager, definitely you have to be a people person. You have to have those people management skills, definitely. Those have to be big on your agenda to make sure that the business runs smoothly. You have to also, you are required to conduct assessments and develop care plans in collaboration with service users, their families, and other healthcare professionals. Guys, we have said in this job, in this business, definitely you work with different people, you work with other different stakeholders. So part and parcel of what you're required to do is maybe to draw up care plans. So your knowledge of care plans definitely cannot be overemphasized. But these are things that you will learn as you do your level 5, definitely. But then again, it has to be at the back of your mind that, again, the people skills that we've always talked about. I do love to say you cannot talk about care work or whatever role in care and not talk about your people skills, your communication skills. So definitely they'll come in very handy. Part and parcel of what you are required to do as a registered manager is also to monitor the quality of care provided. That's like quality assurance. You part and parcel of what you'll be doing is more or less like your quality controller. You check the quality of the care that's delivered by your team. Conducting regular audits and reviews to ensure compliance with regulatory standards and best practice. Again, these are the things that we spoke about in the first phase of this discussion, where we said you learn these things, you are assessed on these things to say, do you have knowledge of compliance? Do you have knowledge of the standards that the CQC require the organization to, to be well versed with? Also, you will be the point of contact for service users and their families in case they have a complaint to make, or a compliment, or they need their package revised, or they just need anything. You are their contact person, definitely. Part and parcel of what you do also, maintenance of accurate records and documentation in line with the regulatory requirements. Guys, we cannot talk about care work and not talk about the importance of documentation. These are some of the things that we are always talking about, to say if it's not documented, it hasn't happened. So at the back of your mind, as a registered manager, these are the things that you are at the forefront of your day-to-day business, where you are making sure documentation is top-notch, documentation is up to date, documentation is in line with the policies of the organization that you are running, that you are part and parcel of. Also, part and parcel of what you do is being present and leading inspections from local authorities and CQCs. Because I mean, as care companies, as care organizations, definitely you're audited. You're audited definitely by social services, by local authorities, which is your councils, and also by the CQC itself. So you are the point of contact. You are there to answer questions on behalf of the organization. So as you contemplate going into this role, as you contemplate pursuing this role, make sure you understand some of these things. Make sure you understand some of the things that will be required of you once in this role. Guys, we cannot talk about any job role and not talk about the remuneration, because I mean, we are talking progress. We are talking of upgrading and upscaling. We are talking about saying, okay, somebody would say, well, there's no growth in care, but there is. These are the things that we are talking about. Guys, we are talking about job roles with a salary from £37,000 to £42,000 per year, depending on your experience, depending on the organization that you work for. But again, I would say £37,000 is the bare minimum, is the probably the start-up salary once you get into that role. So guys, there is future, there is progress, there is professional development in care. You just have to do the right things at the right time. You just have to know what you want, and then you pursue those things. If you're in that organization where you can actually ask them if it's okay for you to start working on your NVQs, approach your management, approach maybe your personal development manager, or your training manager, and pitch what you think or what you feel you want to do. Discuss with them the trajectory that you want to pursue, to say, I want to now start focusing on my NVQs. This is my plan. You'll be surprised how much support you'll get. And also, the importance of discussing it with your managers and everybody else around you is the fact that they will give you that chance. Maybe suppose they are doing care plans, they'll say, when you're free, or maybe once every week or once every month, come to the office, let's do the care plans together. Or come, we're having this audit, come and be a part and parcel of the audit. Also initiate being in spaces where you can grow professionally. Initiate those discussions. Initiate, what can I say? ask to be a part and parcel of these things, guys. Part and parcel of the things that I'm learning is sometimes we are too scared to say, oh, I cannot ask to be a part and parcel of an audit. It's the only way that you can learn. It's the only way that you can upskill, and you don't have to sometimes have to ask to be paid for these things. You can say, okay, I want to know what happens when you're being audited. Is it okay for me to come in during my free time, or is it okay for me to come on such and such a day, because that's when the audit is. You will learn a lot. Ask for those extra responsibilities. Ask to go the extra mile. That's the only way you can then begin to master some of these things. You begin to develop professionally within this role, guys. I would just say, guys, it's not everybody that has to end up a nurse. Not everybody has to end up a social worker. Not everybody has to end up having to move from care work to other things. You can actually grow and develop to become a registered manager within that role, within that organization. There's always room for growth. There's always room for development, and we continue to pursue, we continue to explore all the growth pathways on this platform, guys. So watch out as we unpack, unravel this growth series, this professional development series within care, the different pathways in which one can pursue, how to pursue. I'll put in the link for the different organizations or the different institutions that one can actually approach for their NVQs and for their pathway into becoming a registered manager. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for support. Continue to subscribe, continue to hit the notification bell, and again, I'll see you in our next video. Bye.